How's it going, my fellow Calfistians? And this is Cause Agent Kato speaking, and welcome to my next 5-minute review, more or less, of a game called Snake Pass, developers by Sumo Digital, publisher, same thing, Sumo Digital. Release date of 28th of March 2017, and Snake Pass is it's like a puzzle slash how to control type of game, kind of like if you were to think of I wanted to say Octopath Traveler. It's not Octopath Traveler, it's the Octodad. If you want to think of something like Octodad, where you have to separate controls for both hands and both feet, and you just have to figure out how to move this character in order to get to the next location. So I want to say the only thing that makes Snake Pass a difficult game is when it comes to collecting everything that the game has. You don't necessarily have to collect anything. It's more like collect 3 keys, find the exit, and off you go to the next world. I want to say that the only difficult thing about this entire game, obviously when it comes to movement, that'll take like a couple levels to get used to, if not the entire first world to get used to of the movement, and then after that you won't really have much trouble. But the one thing that's actually bad about the game that makes it difficult in my case would be the camera. Like, if the developers simply gave you a far view of the game where it isn't just like super zoomed in into the character that you're using, or you know, the snake, and actually let you zoom the damn camera out, or have it so it's stationary instead of constantly moving as you move, because let's say if the camera is behind a mechanic, a gear that's always moving, where the camera is just sort of going up and down in order to keep the character that you're using in dead center. But because of that, while you're trying to figure out how to get the snake to move, because like for instance, one button makes you move forward, but you have one analog stick that you can move the head, and then you have to use the A to look up, so you're actually moving forward, going upward instead of going straight. So you have like 3 or 4 different controls in order to move the snake itself. But again, what actually ends up being hard about the game is the camera that is just constantly moving against you, or going behind things that it shouldn't. So I found that very distasteful when it came to me playing it, but overall I actually found the game super fun. At first it was like, oh okay, I'm just doing a lot more of the exact same thing over and over again, but it actually ended up growing on me, and after, you know, after the first 2 worlds, where it's like, oh okay, this is pretty fun. It's just kind of funny when you fail how the snake ends up screaming for help or whatever, and the bird that just sort of sits there and doesn't do crap. It's kind of funny. I found the game fun. Again, it took me about less than 11 hours to beat. There is the exact same number of collectibles in every single level, except for the first one, where the first one is just collect 1 key versus 3 keys, which is good, but sometimes the locations of where they actually end up hiding everything is very annoying. I will say, without spoiling, that you don't actually have to worry about that if you don't make it a big deal, kind of like what I did. It's like, oh, they gave me this. Well, you should have said something before I just ended up wasting a half an hour trying to find one thing in this damn level, which is exactly what I did. But, you know, point is, it is super fun. I'm sure it was just out during the craze of what kind of wacky movement game can we make and actually be playable. But Other than that, not much more to say. The graphics look amazing. There wasn't really anything wrong with the game besides the camera. And I want to say the game is about $15 more or less. I also want to say that this game most likely ends up being in discount basically all the time. So I would suggest to buy the game regardless if it's full price or not. Obviously, if you're on a tight budget, you might want to just wait for it to go on discount. But regardless, if you do actually end up playing it, just know that you'll most likely end up getting about 10 hours before you end up beating the game. And if you have that like too much trouble playing the game, just know that it does get a lot. It does make you use your hands a lot. So if you've been playing it for too long, your hands will actually end up starting to cramp up. But overall, super fun. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'm not gonna say much more than that, and give this game a chance, and peace out.